Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I think we got this. I think I got the sound to where praise Jesus, first of all. Praise Jesus for everything. Absolutely. I think I got the sound fixed where I don't have to I don't have to bark at it 3 times in order to get my icon to bump. See it bumping? And it usually took me to say good morning or hello 3 times. But now it's not doing that. So I'll never understand like the technology and the sound and all that stuff, because we could have like totally easy, like no problem stream about like just nothing. And then as soon as we start talking truth, we get booted off, and we go through difficult technical difficulties or whatever. And there's no real pattern to it. It's hard to figure out, but I think we do a nice job getting through it. You know what I mean? I think we do. Alrighty. Good morning, AJM. Good morning, the Book of His Grace. That's Daniel, right? I keep forgetting. I want to say your name is Daniel. Hey, slow driver. How are you doing, Angelina? And so I was thinking about last week, man. What a great week we had. I know that there was a couple of things that I could have done better. It was kind of hard putting together that prophecy show, which I really never did. Um, I kind of it was it kind of was a blur. I bumped my head earlier in the week, and it was kind of a blur. But you know what? Yeah. I like the better than I deserve. That's Mark. Mark says that, and so I mean, what a week! It went by so fast, and I was like, I bumped my head, and then like last night I was thinking, right, because I went to go check on my Skype, and I had to turn off the beeps, the alert on the Skype, because I finally got to the point where it was beeping nonstop all through the night, and I can't have an alert every 5 minutes, so I just unhooked the alert, and periodically I'll check on it. And then so I went there, and all like Mark had like 4 or 5 different Skypes in there, and I was like, oh, I didn't look at any of this stuff. And he like even had it like pointed out like what to have for the show and everything. I was like, wow, he did such a nice job like laying it out for me. And I just couldn't get it straightened out. And then but I mean, we had some pretty good shows, I thought. It's weird. How come when I have Jake or Stephanie separate, we get 100 clicks, 130 clicks, but when we have them together, we get less than half of that. I think it's double extra better, but either way, I'll never understand how it works. How things work. Like like how like some things just don't add up. You're just like, wow, how does that make any sense at all? But this is the world, right? This is wacky, right? And people are, they don't like the doom and gloom. They don't like to hear about the end times and all that. But I mean, if we're really being real with ourselves, right? This isn't our home. Like this is not our home. Like, why are we trying to why are we trying to build camp here? Like, what? There's obviously another place for us. This place is wacky, man. It's backwards. Everything is backwards and wacky. And the only thing that's predictable is that it's not right. I mean, whenever there's an event on the news, you can pretty much automatically declare it a hoax, like almost automatically without even checking. You're like, wow, this can't be real, and most of the time it's not. And it's sad because it's things that like really tug on the heartstrings, and you're like, wow, man, I don't even want to talk about some subjects, right? Because it's like there's no fruit to that, to it's just what a trap, and see, I get that, Angelina, right? And that's the thing, right? Like, I'll wake up feeling the exact same way, but I'm not like doom and gloom about it. Then when I hear something about like that we're getting closer to getting out of here, or Man of Sin or Mark of the Beast news or whatever, I kind of get excited, to be honest. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's my truth, I'm like, oh wow, maybe that's the mark of the beast. We're almost out of here, you know. And the only reason why I'd want to stay here is for more people to make it. But I've come to that conclusion, right, where because that used to really bother me. I used to want there to be a lot of time so that way more people could make it. And God's already got that under control. That's what God's doing right now. And so I know that no matter what, God created the beginning from the end, and it will be exactly the way it's supposed to be. And if my tiny little vessel gets used, right, to help a few sheep across the line, that's about as important as we get. You know what I mean? Like the world doesn't hinge on whether or not I make it to the next person. Um, God's got it under control no matter what what my decisions in my life are. Right? He said, "Don't all speak at once." I know, huh? It's like there's people lurking, probably just waking up. Well, the thing is, right, we're on at 7 during the week. I mean, during the weekend, and then we're on at 6 during the week, which I really wish I could go back to just being at 7 o'clock. But I'm up anyway because I stay up. My hours are kind of weird because I stay up at night because that's when I could do the most amount of my studying because um, it's only really Sheila and AJM and Hannah at night, and none of them really need me at all. And so they're overseas or whatever, and so I have a lot of quiet time at night. And so I stay up at night. So it's like cool for me because I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I could start early, and and knock it out. And then if I want to go long, I can. And then if I have like stuff to do for the day, then I do it, or I take a nap for a couple hours. And I think that's I don't know. I don't know how to work out. I don't know how to work out the schedule because every time I go to like shorten it to one show a day, I start thinking about a third show, like a nighttime show, so that I could get some of the people that I want for when they're after they get off work. To have interesting guests because I think that's important. Like I want to have interesting guests talking about like stuff that they've discovered. Like not everybody is into the same truth like topics, right? Some people are into different things and they've caught different little nuances of stuff that I would like to know about, And yeah, AJM says I do pop in at night, Bubba, on the odd occasion. Stephen, as I'm in bed at that time. Oh yeah. Because yeah, when I'm at during our evening show, it's got to be like 2 in the morning or something like that for you guys. And I knew it was bad when I had like a seven, like a 7 a.m. 7 a.m. I mean a 7 p.m. show. It must have been the middle of the night over there. Start thinking about a third show. Yeah. I started thinking about shutting down the second show, and I'm like, okay, well, I could do that if I shut down the second and the first show and just have an evening show. And I'm like, oh yeah, but I got to still have a morning show. And then might as well have the middle show just because I'll be up. And then next thing you know, I got 3 shows. And it's really not that everybody doesn't make every show. It's nobody wants to go to church every day. I mean, there's some of us, right? We just love talking about God, and we wear out all our friends and family. And so we kind of need each other for that. But out of everybody, if someone comes once a week or once a month, that's actually good attendance. And so having the people that we get every day is a lot for keeping the subject on God and on mostly on the truth. Sometimes we'll get somebody up here that wants to talk about what some kind of a obscure belief or something like that, and sometimes I just want to see how did they get to thinking that. And it usually ends up in some kind of a some kind of a little scuffle or whatever. And I never mean it to be that way. I just want to know how like for instance, I think one guy said that he didn't like Paul being in the Bible at all, like the Apostle Paul. And I just wanted to see why he thought that. Like how do you know? Like how would you know if somebody wasn't good? You know what I mean? Because like I trust the Bible. That's the only truth I have in my life. How would I know how to split it up and take some out? And I don't know. He tried to show me 2 scriptures, but they didn't mean the same thing. And then I read one of them wrong. Actually, I wish I didn't do that because it was a good show. Other than that, but yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird how sometimes people think, and I want to love the guy through it. Like, hey, maybe you just hang out here and there's people far smarter than me maybe that will be on here and you could listen to them and get straightened out. Who knows? Well, yeah, but that's the thing, Angelina, is a lot of us are so much the same. And like, here's the thing, right? If somebody runs into us like in their life, it's not by accident. Like I don't just run into obscure people and there's no reason for me to be in their life. It's never like that. There's always some either small purpose or bigger purpose or whatever. Not that I'm the important thing, but just that it's important for them to know me or something. It's very weird. And a lot of us that are like truthers, Christians, that make it to these little corners of the internet, a lot of us are the same. And it's like it's just I wonder, because it's not like there's like 2 of us in a family somewhere, or like 2 of us in the same neighborhood. It's like we're sprinkled in there. We're just kind of sprinkled in the community. And yeah, God has a plan. That's the thing. And but I think he also knows that we need fellowship too, it's so amazing, like just thinking like how God reconciled us back to himself. Like as I was thinking, like, because you said the other day about, I made that comment about God taking his own wrath upon himself. And then I was thinking about that, and I'm like, he did that because he loves us, you know? Like, he wasn't like annoyed with us, you know? Like, he loves us. And that's just amazing. That's just amazing. Hello, Hannah. How are you doing? And so I think that from like the very beginning, I think there was always that, like from the beginning is like there was always that reconciliation plan, that redemption was always in the cards, you know? Like instead of life being, you know, all good and then man's free will, right? I mean, it was that, but it was also like, you know, a chessboard with only so many moves, so many different moves, you know? And in every version, he comes down and saves us, you know? And that just like is so powerful to me. You know, that's so powerful. She says, I heard the first live chat, and by the second chat, I knew I was with family. Such a strong pull for me to be in this group. God knows what I need. Yeah, a lot of us are alike. And it's weird because you're like, what? No one's like us or whatever. Oh, what verse for what? I'm sorry, I missed the question. I forgot if somebody asked a question about it. No, just speaking in general. You mean like about like the redemption plan? Like, well, I mean, since the fall, right? You basically like prophesied in Genesis, right, where the seed of the woman would crush the head of the serpent, right? It was like from that point, right? That's Jesus, right? And so they knew he was coming from the very beginning. AJM says, always been good people in Steven's stream chat. Sometimes we might get the oddity. Oh yeah, we might fight a little bit. Well, that's the thing, you know, I'm not a teacher, right? I'm just a guy, just like you guys, right? I mean, you guys, most of you guys know way more than I do. And so I want to keep like the Bible talk not overwhelming to where anybody can join, you know, and say, oh yeah, I want to talk, I want to be with those guys, man. They seem to be happy and the world is falling apart. How are they having peace and joy, you know? And I want people to feel safe here. But then like the people that come on are so smart, man. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, man, why why doesn't my spirit why am I not so fast? I'm not fast like that. I mean, I could get to the right answer, but it takes me a while and I'm not as sure, you know? It's hard for me to speak authoritatively about stuff, you know, unless I'm really, really sure. We all have differences of opinion about biblical intent. Oh yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like how would we really even know anyway, right? I think a lot of us are so quick to say I know when we really don't know. You know what I mean? Like we're pretty sure, and then dig in, and you know, instead of leaving open the chance that, you know, even if there's a small chance, right? I could be wrong, or then the argument itself doesn't matter as long, because then we're able to love each other. And see, that's the thing, right? If we're no matter who's right or wrong, if we're arguing about something, that's what needs to be cut out of our heart, not whoever's wrong, you know. And yeah, so yeah, like Stephanie, Stephanie and Jake and Stephanie, and we had a few people that were they were pretty good, pretty good. I know Teresa knows a lot too, and there's a lot. I don't want to leave anybody's name out. I wouldn't name everybody, but there's a lot of them. And yeah, there's even people that haven't been on the show yet that I would love to get on the show that I go to for stuff all the time, you know, to like ask questions or because there's like so much to know, right? And even if like, because here's the thing, right? Like, let's say I know the same amount as you. If you can consider more scriptures at a time, and you know, like think of more at one time, then you'll come to the answer faster and more accurate because there's always some like sometimes I'll come up with something, I'll be like, oh, I didn't think about that other verse. Like that that changes everything. Like, you know. And so if you know, some people's heads like a computer, you know. I'm like, man, where are all these smart people coming, you know? And yeah, I mean the Bible's the only thing I trust anymore. It's almost like there's no other source. I mean, I even the hardest part of this audio file all the time is I don't know where the words are, like numbers and all that. Like I'll know what I'm talking about, but I won't know where the verse is. I can get like, okay, well, it's in the first half of the end, or it's hard to know what number it is unless it's something that's so famous. Exactly. But even scripture starts lining up with real life, that's when you know you got something. You know, you're like, oh wow, is that what that means? Oh, it's buffering. Okay, should I drop out and come back? Let me know if you can hear me or not. Okay, I'm gonna pop out and pop back. Okay, is it better? Is that better? You missed everything I said before. I forget what I was saying. Oh man, I was on a roll there for a minute. Like it's kind of hard until you warm up and then like something takes over and I forget and then it just and then I'm able to knock out 45 minutes, you know. Oh yeah, you've been an angel. So grace, what grace for what? So grace only then. I don't know. Oh, you mean from like because Jesus was prophesied in the garden that it's saved by faith only? Well, I mean, look, to me like I didn't start reading the Bible at dispensations right away. So it's easy to get my head around like, you know, saved by faith through the whole thing, right? But then also it makes more sense to me with dispensations. And I don't know what that means. It doesn't mean that it's right. It just it makes sense to me, that system. But I don't know much about like how long it's been that way or who discovered it or any of that stuff. Because I'm not like a church guy. I didn't learn anything from a church. And so, I don't know. I didn't pick up any bad habits, but I don't have any good habits either. Does that make any sense? So I could wrap my head around both views, right? And I think that you have to divide the word either way, right? But like if you view like, okay, well they prophesied Jesus since the garden, right? So it's like, if you believe on the coming Messiah, right, then I get it, you know. Did I attend church in person? Once in a while, maybe. Like once in a while, I went to church, like a Christmas or, I think my brother went to Vacation Bible School one time. I went to church, but no, not really. I mean, it's hard because when I first started going to church, so the first time I thought about really being like, into God and all that stuff, right? Was when I joined the army, and my mortality, like you start thinking about your mortality, right? And so I wanted to go to church, and I did never felt right. It always felt judgy, real judgy to me, And I'm not saying they were wrong with all their judgments or whatever. It just felt weird to me because I grew up in a very liberal home, like super liberal. My mom said she was Christian the whole time, and I didn't, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I didn't know it, and once in a while I hear country music, uh, what do you call it, gospel song or something like that, and so yeah, it just I felt out of place, right, out of my element. And it wasn't until, well, I started to just kind of do my own thing, read Proverbs and read Psalms, and like I didn't really know how to read the Bible. I just started to really just like love God, and I didn't know much about him at all. But the minute I knew that God was real, like when I found out the earth was flat, and I studied it every angle, and I was for sure, I was like, wow, God is for real. Like, give me that Bible, I have to crack this Bible open, and this is my whole life now, and I don't know, since sometime in 2017 or whatever, like my whole life is been about God since then. But I would say that, I was an everyday God person since like 2012. But there's something different when when it clicks and you're like, wow, it's for real, for real. Oh, hey, Ray, how you doing? Ray knows me in real life. I've known Ray for, I don't know, 10 years now, about a decade. And I've gone to church with Ray. It says, when I went to a nearby church, I feel out of place, like it feels judgy, because this is the way I look at it, right? Like there's no, I like why I don't identify with my sin, right? So there's just sinners and we need Jesus. If we start separating this person's this and this person's that, it makes no sense. We're all the same in the same boat, and we all need there's only one way out of here. And this isn't our home, right? Like, we don't belong here. We're like, I mean, if God was willing to die for us, imagine how valuable we really are, you know? And I was just watching a video the other day where he was talking about, oh, it's yesterday. Um, Mueller or whatever his name is, was saying like if you go to buy a car and you spend a lot of money, right? You usually like don't pay like extra. Like if you're paying a lot, then it's worth what you're paying, you know. And so if that's true, you know, if I mean the price was high for to save us. If we really are worth that much to God, I mean, like I know that sometimes we fall into this feeling of like, oh, I'm just this little insignificant thing, and I can't believe that he even loves me, and you know, that kind of thing. And in reality, it's, yeah, that's the guy, Dan Moeller, right? Yeah. I watched like 2 of his videos the other day, and it's we're worth so much to God, right? And I just never think about it that way. I always think about it from the sense that, um, you know, I'm just this little insignificant little guy, and that I'm lucky that he even just considers me at all, you know. But in reality, he purposefully made me and you, and like you're his idea. You're God's idea, and in order to save you, he was willing to pay with his life, or you know, if you view it as like his only begotten son, right? And if you think about that imagery, I mean, if I look at my son, right, and think about how high of a cost that really is, that's amazing, right? That it's very humbling. Yeah, you can't wrap your mind around that, right? It's hey Bubba, how you doing? It's like we're that valuable to God that every time he turned around, we were letting him down somehow, or falling short, or taking a shortcut, or ignoring him, right? And and uh, and then he keeps making it easier, and he keeps doing more. That's just amazing. Hannah says, I'm figuring out theology first so I can make an informed decision about which church to attend, as I've been used to some before, right? Well, you made a good comment, Hannah, to me a couple months ago, which is like, if people are going to church and they're like, you know, find out why you're a Presbyterian, or find out why you're a Protestant or a Catholic or whatever. Like most people, I think, just go to a church and they're like, okay, well, this is what I am, you know, it's because the church is down the street and these people seem nice. And then like they could be like, you know, any denomination of Christian, right? And so like to find out why you picked that is that's good advice. Because how would I know? I mean, I think I just picked like a Baptist church just because, you know, I felt like that was probably the most generic, the most wide ranging. You know, I didn't go shopping for churches or anything like that. It was down the street. It was a big place, you know. And I have a couple of friends that went there, you know, that kind of thing. But, you know, when I think of a church, I think of like, you know, like a tight little group of people in somebody's house. And you know, not the kind of people that you walk in and say, hey, how's the weather and this and that, right? But like you come in and you start talking about how you're broken, you know, and this and that happened, and that kind of thing. And to go straight to God with these things and to be healed. Get that stuff out of your heart. I can't wait to be convicted and told that I'm wrong and that I'm doing something messed up so I can get that out of my heart. And I guess you're right, Mark. Most people are afraid these days, to be vulnerable. And but that's how we get better, That's how we get better. AJM says, Hannah, make your own church just with you and God and the Bible at night in a quiet. Yeah, that's true. But we also need some kind of fellowship, right? Like some kind of assurance that we're not alone. And because that's the thing, right? The devil likes to sneak in and and hey, are you really talking to God? Is he really listening to you? You can make yourself crazy that way, right? Without another person that's going through it with you. It's so good, right? It's too good to be true, to the point where you start to question if it's really real in your head. You're like, oh, is this real? I mean, now with all the confirmation we have, it's a lot easier. But I would say 15 years ago, it took a big leap of faith for me, huge leap. And now it's a tiny little leap. It's like you almost can kind of come into this thing knowing now. It seems silly to think that there's not a God, and it's easy to see who they're lined up against, And Bubba says, agreed, AJM, come out of her, my people. Yeah, that's what I think that too. But I also think that that's talking about the world too, right? Just come out of the world itself. It's not real. And I think people are caught up thinking that it's real and that we belong here and that we got to fight for it somehow and keep it going. And, no matter how much I explain to them, like when God gets back, everything's going to be better. Like, it's not going to get worse just because God's coming back. There is no end. It's not over. There's no end times. We just carry on better, She says, made it a point to pray out loud last night and had the worst dream this morning. Like, pissed off the devil, yeah. Yeah, Agent, bet lots of fake Christians out there. I've been burnt before. Yeah, me too. Been burnt trusting people and helping people. And yeah, I would love to go to church with Hannah too. Fellowship is what I need. Exactly, Ray. Well, I'm right down the street. You know where I am, like 99% of the time, I'm at my house. It says, but I'm so afraid at times I allow myself. I have to keep reminding myself God didn't give me a spirit of fear. That's right. Well, our human emotions come from Adam, God didn't create us with any bad emotions. So, like, in a sense, they could all go away, Devil wanted to shake my faith, but he just affirmed that I'm on the right track. Yeah, because that's what it means when we're getting attacked, right? When we're getting attacked, that's what it means, is that we're on the right track. He would leave us alone if we were just like, hanging out at Denny's and not really, building our relationship with God, And yeah, the wrath of God, right? The wrath of God is just greetings. Yeah. I know, good servant. I believe the CV, yeah, has shown man's true colors. There's no riding the fence anymore. People have come out of church not wanting to return. Oh yeah, you're right. It's depressing, right? It's depressing. Yes, Steven, I know, and I'm sorry I wasn't there. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about all that. Don't worry about all that. Sounds like a fake love. Fake love. Yeah, like, I mean, you mean, well, without God, there is no real love, you know? I mean, you haven't even found out who you are yet without God. I mean, we were created for Him. So we were created for God. That means that, like, without God, we don't even know who we are. Steve, come on, brother. I need this. I'm just as guilty, if not more. Yeah, exactly, right? But you know what? But you know what? That's what we need, right? Is to be convicted, right? Get that out of me, you know? Let's just let's just cut it out, you know? And that's it, speaking from your heart, you know? But see, the Holy Spirit is hard. Okay, so the tough part about the Holy Spirit for me is it doesn't just start off. It's like I need to get warmed up or something before it starts to come out of me, you know? It's not something that just like I can't command it. So maybe I get a half and half or something like that, you know? Excuse me while I misconstrue. Yeah. No. You're good, man. I like that you keep us honest. You know, there is rules, man. There is a book, right? You know, that we should be using all the time. And I would love to have somebody up here permanent so that I could well, certain, yeah. I mean, so I could do more scriptures and stuff like that. But I got to think of how I would put that. Um, yeah, order. Yeah, man, that's what we need is order. You know, no riding the fence. That's right, man. Oh, hey Ray, you should subscribe to Bubba News, man. Like he's got all the end time prophecy stuff. It's pretty cool. All the stuff in Israel, not the mainstream news that you can barely trust. Let us not give up the habit of meeting together, or some are doing instead. Let us encourage one another, all the more since you see that day of the Lord is coming near. Oh, absolutely. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 25. This stream is like online church. I agree with that, Hannah. And plus, like, it's not like we don't talk like outside of this, right? Like, I mean, like, I have a pretty good like back and forth with you guys outside of here too, you know? And it's, you know, I try to do that, you know? I mean, it is hard to keep up with everybody, but it's worth it, you know? And yeah, that would be cool, Ray. Yeah, check out Bubba News, man. He's good, man. Well, I think that like we all kind of do something that's I mean, I don't know. Some of us have channels that kind of are like they wake people up. It's probably not something that is for me, but it has a lot of value, you know? Like it's more geared toward the worldly person waking up and coming here, you know, so that there's things that would like appeal to them. And so just because not everything's for me doesn't mean that it's not good. It's like there's some stuff that's really good that's just not for me. And we got to wake up as many people as possible, you know. But what's weird is every time I meet somebody, like I'll be on the on YouTube here, and I'll find somebody that I like. I'm like, oh, this guy's saying all the truth, man. Oh, this is great. And other people like us, right? And then they'll say some kind of weird stuff, weird doctrine, you know. And I'm like, oh man, this sucks, because I really liked those people, you know. And they'll say something way far out there, you know, and I'm like, oh, I can't. I wish I could go out there with you, man, but I can't. That's too far from the truth. AJ, I've never seen that half of the rainbow above the sun. Oh, isn't that weird how you see both sides of the rainbow? Well, it's the reflection off of the dome, you know? You don't think so? I think it's the reflection off of the dome, like it's half and then the other half on top. Or it could mean that the firmament is open. Oh yeah, where's Alex D, man? I would love for him to come back. Where is he at? Is he here? Oh, I miss him terribly. I miss him a lot. I think about him all the time. People forget, but like half of this channel was built with him. Been catching very cool stuff in the skies. Yeah. Well, what is all this stuff right in the sky that's like purple and glittery? People are sending me pictures that are all kinds of weird stuff, you know? Like glitter in the sky. And you wonder, like, are they hiding these signs from God, or are these the signs themselves? It's hard to discern, you know, because it's only over certain cities, you know. Oh yeah, the evening shows with the ladies. Yeah, more humor for sure. Yeah. Especially when everyone gets on a roll, you know. When everyone gets on a roll. But well, it's time to hit that old dusty trail. But tonight, oh, it's Monday night. It'd be cool to do panels again, but I'm not sure if that's what I could do tonight. I'll pray about it. But thank you guys. I love you. And thanks for coming out. Oh, okay. Three days in a row, there's cloud formations that show an open book. So it's bizarre. Oh, the Lamb's Book of Life, man. That's what I think of when you say that. The open book. 3 days in a row, there is cloud formations that show an open book. Now that is something. Alrighty, guys. Well, I love you guys. God bless. Praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory to God because he deserves it. And pray for the children. Pray for anyone being victimized out there. Please pray for each other. It's important. And I will see you guys, Lord willing, tonight at 4 p.m.